Everyone's kerfuffling.
Hello there and welcome to another of these kerfuffle round tables. I am delighted to have perennial visitor on the show, Joanne from Moneypenny here today. How are you? Looking lovely as ever.
I'm really well, Simon. Thank you for having me yet again for another lovely
Can't
roundtable
stay away
session.
from you. Moneypenny, you know what it's like. But and John, how are you? From Robert Watts, you okay?
I'm very well, Simon. Thank you. Very well indeed.
Good stuff. And look, was obviously back on the wall there. We can see the footy shirts. So just so obviously loads of people will know you, but for those that are in the network that don't quite, you've got 5 offices in the Bradford area. That's right, isn't it?
That's correct. 5 offices covering Bradford and district area. Yep.
Like the rest of us up in the north, you're in lockdown for the rest of the year, or
unfortunately lockdown tier 3. Unfortunately, yes.
Not good. Well, we spoke to Keith from the Isle of Wight yesterday in tier 1, and it was like, it was a mythical land of being able to go to the pubs and restaurants and things like that. First things first, let's get this out of the way because I know you would destroy me if I didn't say this, Joanne. Congratulations, of course. There was a couple of things that you're old hats at this in terms of winning awards, but you actually got accredited at the RAN conference the other day for being one of the most collaborative partners within the RAN network. I think that's really, really important. It's not probably the catchiest title we could have come up with, but a lot of people, obviously, suppliers to other affiliation groups, they just do it very much as seeing it as a distribution network and everything else. I think you prove more than anyone else that you really get involved, and you've always, really dedicated yourselves to the RAN conferences and indeed supporting their members, haven't you?
We certainly have. I mean, we've been going to the RAN conference now for many, many years before my time. And it's always one of our favorites. Everyone's just really engaging, but it's important for us to go to these events, and it's not about meeting new potential business out there all the time. It's about being able to nurture and see our existing clients as well, which is really important for us because that's who we learn from, and it's our clients that will help shape Moneypenny moving forward as to what we do to bring to the rest of the estate agency world.
Spot on. And not content with that, of course, you also won the first RAN Supplier of the Year. So again, massive hats off. It was it was really interesting looking through the amount of people in that network who just see you as just, I think, indispensable was a lot of the comments on there. And that's where you want to be, isn't it? Seen as a partner, not just a supplier.
Exactly. And just take this opportunity to actually say thank you to each and every one of you that went out and voted for Moneypenny. We really do appreciate it. We were absolutely over the moon, and the guys and the gals that sit there day after day assisting you, helping you make sure that you're not missing any opportunities, answering your calls and your live chats were just over the world. They were, it was amazing. Thank you.
Absolutely great. Well, yes, so fantastic on that. And just so everyone, we tee this up, obviously there, one of the things, obviously, we've all missed getting together. One of the highlights, certainly for me, of any RAN network, maybe not the few days afterwards, but one of the great things about the RAN network is those round tables that they do, isn't it? Where you get to talk to the other members. And we were just saying off camera, it's a lovely dynamic because you obviously do get to hear what the suppliers have to say. But then crucially, ordinarily, there's 1 or 2 clients on each table that have used that supplier, and they're able to put their hand in the air and say, look, just to let you know, well, hopefully it's always the good one, and with you guys it is, but just to say, this is a company you can trust. And because of that lovely non-competitive aspect of RAN, those recommendations carry far more weight than I think they ordinarily would do, would they?
They most certainly do, and that's where we get a lot of our business from, word of mouth, and it's events and partnerships with RAN agents that brings that new business to us. You can't get any better, and hence why we invited John to join us this morning so he can give his experience of joining Moneypenny.
Yeah, this is about you, not to you. Most of this as well. That one. So let's just kick off with that, John. So, what really first attracted you to money? What problem were you trying to solve?
Well, I've been aware of Moneypenny for many years. Like I say, we've been part of RAN now for probably 10 years. A lot of our members within the Yorkshire region use Moneypenny, and it's a service that I've been meaning to use for a long time. But as we've got busier and busier and the company's grown, we looked at and thought we are concerned about the level of calls that they're going to go unanswered, because no matter how many staff you've got in the office, if they're all on the phone, the phones are still going to ring out. Even with the best phone systems in the world, you're going to miss opportunities. So it was about this time last year that we sat down and thought, right, that's quarter one's task to get Moneypenny set up. And then obviously something happened around about February, March that changed the world a little bit. So that got sort of put on hold. But I think while we were on lockdown, it gave me the opportunity to reach across, get in touch with Jo, and really get to grips of how she and her team can help us with the service. Because I say the calls we were concerned about the level we were missing with the 5 branches that we've got, that they're we couldn't afford to carry on as we were and miss opportunities.
I remember seeing the stats. I think I don't know if you still do them, Jo, don't you? Where you I don't know if it's when you do a trial, but certainly you used to break down what percentage of missed calls were actually for new business or for valuation. And when you see those ones in black and white, it really is, because the vast majority of those, we like to think they're going to ring back. I know myself. If you haven't had the level of service first time round, often you just forget about that company, don't you?
Well, we do. We know that if an agent isn't able to pick up the phone because they're busy, and we know that they've got 1,000,001 things to do. If they're using a voicemail, 69% of people that will hit a voicemail will just put the phone down. Yeah. And in this day and age, you're just a Google search away from losing that opportunity of, possibly evaluation of viewing, etc. So, John, I don't know if you mind me sharing some stats that I shared with you. Yeah. So since John came on board with us, we have actually taken 285 valuation inquiries, and 2,499 viewing inquiries. So those are ones that, when we're doing our reporting, which we can do nightly reporting, weekly reporting, monthly reporting, you get access to an amazing portal that shows you all of these stats as well, that you can look at whenever you need to. Those are the ones that we love to see, because it shows the ROI instantly on valuation inquiry, definitely.
Well, it's funny, isn't it, John? You spend so long, we all get fairly obsessed about different sorts of prop tech, promising to bring you a few leads here. The age old, you just need one more listing to pay for this, which obviously means that salesperson should be stoned. I think I invented that, so I'll probably better move on, actually. But this is a classic one, isn't it? Is where if somebody was promising you this as new leads from something clever like social media, you'd think that's a fantastic. But when it's something just so essential and just so logical, isn't it? It's just making sure that all the calls are answered. And as you said, this isn't about your staff being lazy in any shape or form. It's the very lumpy nature of business, isn't it? Is that sometimes people phone at the same time, and other than having like 20 people just sat around, it's just not going to work unless you have a solution like Moneypenny's.
Well, I think that's right. I mean, they say, which is what we drill down to our teams. No business has got a desired right just to expect people to ring back. And as you said, Simon, people won't ring back. They don't like voicemail. People want the phone answered as quickly as possible. And the estate agent profession, we are a customer-led business, and people want to be able to speak to somebody, and the phone has got to be answered. And when Jo provided them stats, 285 valuations, I wasn't totally surprised, because as you said, the reporting is very good. We get it on a nightly report. We go through it every month and drill down the level of calls that they come from, whether it be an MA, a viewing, or anything else, and we can really look at where we're missing opportunities. And then when I go back to branch level and go that through with the office managers and say, look, there's X amount of calls that we potentially would have missed if you didn't have Moneypenny, and the stats are there. You can't dispute
that, John. It's just interesting. It occurs to me: were the branch managers surprised by the figures that they were losing? I'm guessing they are, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's the age-old system, isn't it? They say, well, they were surprised how many calls they get back, and obviously the calls that come through Moneypenny have to be dealt with as a priority. So they are surprised how many they were potentially going to miss. But when it comes, I mean, we have been exceptionally busy over the last 6 months, which has surprised everybody. But I think we got live probably the first or end of May, I think it was, beginning of June, which coincided with the market reopening and things going as busy as they have been. So the timing has been perfect for us, and it's gone down very well for clients because we've made a conscious effort for when we're pitching on an MA to say to prospective vendors that we have in essence a designated customer contact center. We're never going to miss an opportunity, because I think a vendor will always concern if the phone isn't answered, that's potential somebody wanting to book a viewing and could potentially miss a sale of their house. So that's been great for us to get that point made, that we're never going to miss an opportunity to sell your house.
That's a really interesting angle there. I was just thinking, I mean, I'm far more sneaky than probably most, but if I was thinking about, making something actually of that, of being a USP, you'd be encouraging them, look, just give a ring at whatever time, just to kind of test us on it, and then kind of encouraging them to try and do that for the competition, because that would lead to a very different experience for most of those ones there, and probably discount a good number of your competitors who haven't had the good sense to invest in this side of things.
I think so. I mean, with all prop tech, there's always like you said, a return on investment. How are you going to get this back? And obviously, I don't need to teach you how to do prop tech, by the nose, but there's all the products out there in the industry. You just can't do them all. It's just impossible. You can't afford to do them all, and you haven't got time to do them all. But I think, we've looked at the business over the last 6 to 9 months and say, well, what's the essentials? What's the nice to have? What's the we'd like to have? And what's the ones that perhaps, it's time that we don't get the investment, it's time to drop. And we review it every 3 to 6 months. But Moneypenny's been great for us. We've got a good customer service there with Joe and Alana, who looks after our calls. And I think it's been excellent since we've joined.
That's great. It's great to hear that. And then the other thing is, of course, is you'd have been caught in a real quandary if you didn't have Moneypenny. Obviously, the fantastic point when we returned back to business and there was this great market there, which was the first thing, but you'd still have been quite nervous about the economic situation there that would have merited taking on the level of staff, wouldn't you, that to cater for the calls. So by being able to have that burst capability there that you can just rely on, with Moneypenny again, it's fantastic in all markets, really, isn't it? I mean, obviously in this bubbly one, it's great.
Well, I think it is. Like I say, with everything, it's a cost, isn't it? So you've got to look at your budget, your overheads, and some things, like I said, we just chose not to do. But we've been exceptionally busy. Everybody was brought back to work immediately. We recruited more staff, and we obviously got Moneypenny. So we needed more people in the branches. We needed the calls as well. So it's a big investment we've had over the last 6-7 months, but it's something that's been essential because how busy we've been, and it's been a phenomenal year, really, taking into account what's gone on.
But it's delivering as well, isn't it? Because we all know that RAN agents are normally the best agents in the area, and what is definitely true is a number of those competitor agents, certainly some of the corporates, seemingly didn't even have their doors open, did they? No. So the public are very unforgiving. I was thinking, actually, as you were talking there, they don't expect to leave a voicemail for a business there. What's interesting is when you're phoning them, of course, they're quite happy to let that go through to voicemail, aren't they, in terms of their, so you are held to an unfair standard to a large degree, but they expect the high, they might in the back of their mind know they're in the middle of a pandemic, but they still want to have somebody talk to them now with their most important sale of their biggest asset in their lifetime.
100%.
Yeah, we did find as well that just touching on that, call durations for us at Moneypenny went up because people wanted to speak. They had a lot more time on their hands. So when we were taking the calls, we were noticing that our receptionists were on calls for longer because people were a lot more engaged in and probably more happy to divulge a lot more information as well.
That's really interesting, isn't it? And it's something you're probably not surprised by, obviously, looking at what was going in the wider in the wider obviously economy and world out there. And And John, just in terms of you're using the core Moneypenny call answering service, I take it there.
Yes.
Do you use it? Do you use it just for normal office hours? Do you use it for extended office hours? How does it work?
Well, we've actually got it 24/7 currently.
Oh wow!
Again, it's something that we're monitoring, say month by month with Jo when I do the reviews with her. But I think the ability to offer the 24/7 service
Yeah,
again
great.
for a vendor that's considering ourselves against other agents. In our industry, it is always been a fee war. The more northern you get up the country, the fees squeeze even more. But I say we've never been a cheap agent, but we've never been a 2% agent either. But the level of service we have, I think it goes down well that we've invested in the product. It is a 24/7 service, so we have the ability to get the messages, and they do come through when we get it's called a nightly report. I get the email in first thing in the morning for the previous day, and you can see there when the calls come in and what's happened with them. So it's great to see that transparency of when people are making contact with us.
And on those reportings as well, with John being a multiple branch agency, he can actually see which branch the calls are coming through. So we'll break it down not only into inquiry type, so viewings, valuations, etc. We'll also break it down into branches as well, so he can see what's happening. Is this blimey, branch A had 20% more calls than they would this time last week. What's happened? So there's lots of tools within the reporting that John can then use for his business development of the offices himself.
I made this point, didn't I, the last time we spoke, that whilst obviously you are the ultimate people business, people orientated there, but it is underpinned by a very strong technical team as well at Moneypenny that provide the systems, the reporting, everything that make all of this, like technology is meant to be, almost so you don't notice it.
Exactly. And we're very fortunate that all of these are built in-house at Moneypenny, but they all come through from having these conversations with our clients. Wouldn't it be great if Moneypenny could do this? Wouldn't it be great if Moneypenny could report on this? And we'll always take it and we'll look at it and see what we can do with our development team.
Great. And John, is there any elements of was there anything that surprised you that you weren't expecting when you about using Moneypenny? I mean, we've spoke about the stats there, but has there been any other kind of halo effects that you've got from using them?
I think what's been very useful to again why we wanted to do the service is because running offices and you're relying on your staff. If somebody unfortunately goes home ill, or we have a crisis, or suddenly the office is a man down, or excuse me, 2 or 3 men down, the office is going to struggle answering the calls. So as soon as we know that's going to happen, we can then fire a message over to Alana, who looks after us. She's then fully updated that Office A is struggling this afternoon because they're short staffed, so she can preempt any people ringing up saying, I'm struggling to get through, or can I speak to so and so? Because she knows them fully well from us, because we've briefed her that we've got a problem in that office, and then it can get dealt with. So it's very, very quick. As soon as we send a message over to them, then they're fully aware of what's happening with us. So as I've said to our team when we got joined Moneypenny, that we want to use them as an extension to our offices, as part of it, as they work for us. We're all on the same team. So the more that we can update Alana, who has our call handler, or whoever answers the calls, the more up to date they are. So if we have a property in which we know there's going to get an awful lot of interest, or a situation is going to cause a lot of influx of calls on a particular day, again, we update them. They're fully aware of it, and the message can get dealt with in a better fashion. And the end result is we get what we need from it.
I think that element there, isn't it, as well, is ostensibly you could think that you just you answer calls and that's all you do. I remember at one point in time, but it's not like it's being bounced around huge amounts of people in there that have no understanding of the business. Alana really, one of the things I love about Moneypenny is they really get, to get a feel for the companies that they work with. And I don't know what training you do. Well, I have seen a little bit, to be fair. But how you get that enthusiasm for working it, it doesn't, not like in other businesses where we all tend to have a bad day at some stage, and you know what, that tends to come across as well on the phone. Your guys, bright, bubbly, no matter whether somebody's been rude or anything else. That's a lovely way to portray any business, isn't it?
It is. I actually had a visitor, outdoor visitor yesterday at Moneypenny to do some filming, and he's local to Moneypenny, and he said he can virtually tell a Moneypenny receptionist just by looking at them. And I think that's true.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's definitely a real great bunch, but we invest heavily in their training, not just their initial training coming into Moneypenny to learn about Moneypenny, but also into which sector they're falling. So if they go into our legal sector, they go into our automotive sector, or if they come into a state agency, you know, we're very fortunate that we'll have some really knowledgeable property experts come in to do training with them. They need to understand, some of the team may never have been through the process of buying and selling a property or even rental. So it's important that they understand the emotional journey that's involved with someone doing it as well. So the likes of Peter Knight, Julian O'Dell, you know, Stephen Brown, etc. These experts that come in to do some training with us, it's invaluable, it's important, and that's what makes us experts in our sectors.
Yeah, it's absolutely great. And clearly we spoke about the technical side of things. You're always investing. One of the reasons I think I know you, obviously you got the supplier of the year again, was, you know, you just because it was lockdown, that didn't lock down your innovation, did it? And anything else. So
No.
how are those different tools that you've been releasing to help people out with, or not just during the corona virus pandemic and everything else, but just improving things like your digital switchboard and everything else? How are those being received by clients?
They've been really good, and you know, people listening today will know that in lockdown we did give RAN agents the opportunity to use free digital switchboard for 3 months. But I think we've had this conversation before, Simon, where a lot of people did take that up because they didn't have the sophisticated phone systems themselves to allow them to route their calls to their staff working remotely, etc. But it was evident as soon as they were given the green light to go back into office, everybody wanted to come over to telephone answering, our traditional call answering service, because they wanted that human element. So it's great that we've got these tacky products, but it's also clear that it's our real people that people love as well. We did a lot of focus sessions with our clients over lockdown. So digital switchboard was launched. We also launched a COVID bot. We then stepped up after that to we now have a triage bot that sits in front of our live chat service, because we know that a lot of clients didn't want to pay for a property management chat coming through to a real human being. So we thought, what can we do? So we now have an opportunity to have a chat bot filter out any of those property management chats coming through, so our clients aren't paying for those chats. They'll be directed to the relevant, whether it's someone like Fixflow, for example, or if it's just reporting via a telephone number, or if it's just going through to an email, report your property maintenance issues here. But if it's a sales or a lettings inquiry, the real valuable stuff will get those either to you as your agent, if you're using us on an overflow, or directly to a Moneypenny receptionist.
So basically having exactly the right tool for the job at the right time.
Exactly. And then the other one is outbound calling. So that's we brought that because we listened to what our clients were struggling when they came back into the offices after furlough. In a lot of staff, they weren't able to deal with all of the leads that were coming in. They weren't able to do viewing feedback. They had this whole pot of data as well, so anniversary calls. So we listened to them, and we put together a specialist outbound team now, which will actually do all of that calling and taking away the noise.
Yeah, and I sat, you kindly let us just listen in and see how that was. And again, you know, you haven't sacrificed any quality in terms of what you take from the incoming to the outbound.
Not
It's
at all.
It's a really compelling feature there. Cool, that's great to obviously hear it and again. And I suppose, John, ultimately, what would you say to any other kind of RAM members thinking about using Moneypenny?
I would say I wouldn't hesitate. I mean, the service, like I said, has been great. They offer the trial anyway, so you can have a look at it.
Of course,
You can monitor it, and I think with everything, you're always concerned about cost and cost and quality, and am I going to get a return on my investment? And but I think until you actually do it, I think you're never going to know. But we were blown away by it. Like I say, it's been excellent. I should have done it a lot earlier. Like I say, through RAN and through the Property Academy, we know all about it. So.
That's a really key point, there, isn't it? When you hear yourself uttering those classic lines, "I wish I'd done it before." That's the really sign of a great one. You just kind of knocking yourself on the head, don't you? Say, "I wish we'd done it years ago." Yeah, great. That's really, really useful for your fellow members. I'm sure they'd love to hear that. And I mean, as you said, Joe, it's more and more now. It's more of an account management sort of process. Because you've got so many RAN members on at the moment, anyway, haven't you?
We have. So I carry on working with John for now, but there will come a time where we will pass ways a little bit, and he'll be passed over to our dedicated property account management team. But it's all about relationships for us at Moneypenny. So I'll continue to work with John, but you do get that dedicated account management as well.
That sounds like you've dumped John live on this webinar. That's awful.
No, John and I have had loads of conversations. Okay. I cannot wait to jump in my car. In a normal world, I'd have been up there to meet everybody in all 5 of the branches. This Moneypenny, we'd taken the goodies. Yeah. I've not been able to do that. Blimey, no.
Don't worry. The kerfuffle vaccine is going to solve all this. You might glow for a while, but don't worry about it.
But that's it. It's important for us we are about relationships, and I've had a pleasure working with John. It's just been a great agency to bring on board with Moneypenny. I know that we've supported you with live chat as well previously, and that's something that we'll continue to talk about moving forward. So it's just about keeping involved with each other, isn't it? The day-to-day run-ins will be with the account management team, but inevitably John is my client. So yeah.
Well, one thing
he's never going to get rid of me.
John was talking about stereotypes there, about fees, but the one thing we always knew was the further north you went, the nicer the clients were.
That's true.
We've just lost the entire south of the country, but we've been in tier 3 for 3 months, so you'll have to forgive us for it there. And I suppose just to finish on the point, then, John, is there anything you would do differently or recommend to your other RAN members thinking about getting on board, just to maybe improve on the experience?
I don't think there is. I think if it was a service or a supplier that got us on board, then you hear nothing from them, and you have even a quarterly chat, I think there'll be issues. But the fact that I'm in regular contact with Joe, I know that I can pick the phone up, drop an email, she'll come straight back to me. But the reporting is there daily, so I've got real-time information. I know exactly what's going on with regards to the calls on all branches. So no situation has arisen yet in the last 9 months that we've been on board that I think, blimey, this is not what we signed up for. There's no hidden surprise at all. So I would say to any agent looking at it, like I said earlier, don't hesitate, get in touch, because the service is great. And as I said to all our team when we launched it, Moneypenny has been around a long time. They're a very, very well-known firm, dealing with some excellent agents across the country that obviously I know personally, and some that I don't know, but there's excellent agents use them. So there's testament that they're doing it.
And it's really good to know that, isn't it? That's one of the key elements there, is we always encourage everyone at kerfuffle. That's why, we do have the review site there, so that you can see they're not anonymized. You can see the names, and obviously being able to bounce around, seeing the Simon Bradburys from Thomas Morris, the Kevin Scrupps from, Pygott and Crone and everything else. All these great, and I mean this in the nicest possible way before everyone jumps on me. These are high maintenance clients. They expect the very highest levels of service. So if they are able to keep these companies satisfied, that carries huge weight, doesn't it? And I think that's another big benefit.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Guys, thank you once again. Brilliant to catch up, and hopefully we will be all allowed out once upon a time. Once more again, Joanne, congratulations on obviously winning the Supplier of the Year. Tremendously well deserved, and clients like John are going to benefit from it. And thanks for your feedback today. It's been invaluable.
No, thank you very much for having us. And once again, thanks to everybody out there for voting for Moneypenny. Really appreciate it. And thank you, John, for joining us.
No problem, Joe. No problem at all.
Perfect. Cheers.
Okay.
Cheers, Simon.
Thank you. Take care.
Good day. You too.
Bye.
Cool. Thanks very
Bye-bye.
much, guys. That's brilliant. Thanks. Really
See you,
kind
mate.
of you.
Thank you.
I'll,
Thanks,
I'll
John.
drop you, I'll drop you an email back, John, on the other point, and then we'll get that
Okay.
in the diary.
Perfect. I'll fill it in. Get it on the calendar. Yeah, when you've done it.
Lovely. Okay.
Lovely.
Cheers, Joe. Have a
Cheers,
good one.
guys. See you later. Cheers,
John,
Joe.
I
Bye-bye.
need to catch up with you, so I'll ping you an email and we'll get something in the diary as well. Okay.
That's fine.
She's
All right.
breaking up with you, John.
I'm
it's
not.
It's not you, it's me.
That's what it is, isn't it? Yeah. Have something to tell you.
Yeah, I know. I'm not breaking up with you till at least I've seen Ronnie. Dear me,
I feel like a bit
Yeah.
of a gooseberry now, so I'm getting out of here. Bye-bye.
No, I'll be in touch.
Everyone's kerfuffling.